ready to make history. And it was a history that has been made, and it goes down whenever generation that will come after us, if Jesus tarries, they will know that the once upon a time, there was a generation that really said, never again generation.
Yes, Doctor, seeing that we have just about 30 to 45 minutes to be in here, I want us to go a little bit very fast because there is the regular normal program that comes up. I really want to apologize for this late start. After the conference yesterday, I think I was one of the last persons to leave the hall. There was jubilation, there was joy, there was every rejoicing, and the people never wanted to quit the place, just discussing and discussing and discussing. In a general way and generally talking, Doctor, can you tell us how it was and what it was like in the ASSC2? That is Amazonian Stakeholders Strategic Conference 2 in Washington, in comparison to that which was in Berlin in 2019. Over to you, Doctor.
This is incomparable. The Berlin conference was the foundation. This is the hallmark. It's like the everything about the Ambazonian Strategic Conference. We actually saw that everything went right well. Security wise, everything, despite the threat, despite the weather, despite everything. In fact, we were very happy that even the international observers, they also took their turn to really get engaged in the day one, day two, day three, until yesterday when the thing ended. I think they are all satisfied that yes, Ambazonia is really ready. I remember one of the things, one of the highlights was when Dr. Pastor Dr. Tulaja, Adelaja, Sunday Adelaja, came up the stage for the pep talk. You know, when we're still thinking, what is this pep talk all about? Behold, a giant in diplomacy, a giant in the gospel field, in the name of Pastor Sunday Adelaja, came to the stage. And it was really good because in 2014, I have known this man of God. And my mentor, Pastor Kumuyi, was in Ukraine for a crusade. When I look at the man went to Ukraine as a student, and God called him into ministry. He remained there till date. And in his ministry, it started like a child's play, small, like the HSS, he started giving, looking at the gap like Bill Gates, and he started reaching out to the underprivileged, reaching out, doing a lot of things. Before you know it, the highly placed people in that nation, they started yielding to the gospel. Majority of the ministers, the members of government in that country became members of his congregation. And it was not only that. I was invited to the United Nations to minister there by one friend that is working there from Ghana, but there was still, for logistic reasons, I could not leave Vermont to go right down to the United Nations to address the staff, the Christian staff that were there. But later on, I was told that Pastor Adelaja came and he was able to minister to them. And not only that, he has, when you talk about the legislature part of the body or the executive part of the body, many members of his ministry, they are there. And 99.5% of the membership of his ministry, they are Caucasians. And you can see the call of God in him. And because God has used him so mightily that there is no place or sphere of influence that you will not be able to see this man's ministry and impact in that nation being felt. And we are really, really blessed to have had the pep talks from him. And we're looking forward, and he being now part of us, the first honorary citizen of Amazonia, that was the best thing that could be offered to him. Looking forward on the day that we'll meet at Bokwango to celebrate the Bongo Square, to celebrate our getting back into our land, our sovereign to regain our sovereignty as a nation. We're looking forward to see that man of God coming there to receive his honorary title of citizenship. And not only that, we see in the ASSC2, there was a lot of things. There was a lot of courage. People were from different places coming in to be the people that were necessary to be in the venue itself. They were there, and they were all hands on the deck. So this is a wonderful time that we see that our people were just like this our county coordinator, because we are no longer calling them county chair. Their names have been changed from county chair to county coordinator. You know,
Yeah,
this Bui county coordinator, yeah, Shejimbu, yeah. He said something very, very specific, that we are at the verge of getting into that land, to Bongo Square.
Hallelujah.
So you can see that Amazonia went through another history. 3 zones, from 2 zones to 3 zones, is a wonderful one. You know, the Atlantic, the mid Atlantic, and the Savannah zones. So it's really, really a hallmark. And from ground zero to home fronts, you know. Don't forget
Those
home
changes
front.
were very,
And you
those
said
changes.
something yesterday, which I took note. You said, so it's for us to to stay away from ground zero, we should be saying home front, home front, home front like 20 times, so that
Right.
it becomes part and parcel of us.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
do you have anything
Yes,
to
Doctor.
add about Sunday? What do you know about Sunday Adelaja?
Yes, Doctor. Sunday Adelaja, I have known him and I've heard a lot of stories about him. In fact,
Yeah,
like you just mentioned, he was a student, and he actually, from the stories, I've not really verified this, that he got converted under my mentor, my pastor, Reverend Dr. W.F. Kumi.
yeah,
That he was a Deeper Life member in the days of his youth, when he was still in Nigeria going to school. And the seed that was planted in him, when he went over there, the seed was seeking for germination, and
Yeah.
being noticed and known by a lot of people that Russia was, Ukraine was the soil by the wayside, or a rock that the seed could fall and will never grow. He decided and said, no, whatever happens, I'm going to do it. And when he planted the seed, fortunately, he discovered that that was a good ground. As the Lord blessed the seed, watching out for the passion that was in him, so that he can become what he has made Ukraine to be today. Uh, and over the years, his passion for the gospel of Jesus Christ grew to the point that he has the largest church in the former Soviet Socialist Union, and Ukraine being the headquarters of his church. And now that Ukraine is under siege by Russia, and he could come in and talk to us the way he talked to us in our ASSC2, is an indication that when God is under control and the waters are there as if they want to drown you, you could lie at the tail of the boat inside the rough sea and be sleeping quietly because you know who is in control. And so his coming to grace our conference was a big show. And it was not only a big show, it was a big indication that God was in this conference, because God actually has a hand for the people of Ambazonia. And if you ever doubted God, some people are still in the dreamland thinking that God was going to drop an angel from heaven to come and make a loud noise and tell the people of Ambazonia, people in home front, that I am God. But no, God uses methods and ways that human beings cannot decipher before they actually come. And so he's coming in as a servant of God to come and grace our occasion was a very good indication for the people of Ambazonia to note that despite all the fight that has been going on, Moses did not hand over to the 250 princes and the people who were murmuring when they had left bondage, and the people forgot the bondage in which they were living in Egypt and suddenly remember the suffering they were having in the wilderness. And many of them preferred to go back to Egypt, of which Moses did not give up. And some leaders came up and they said so many things to take the people of Israel back into Egypt, but Moses, sent by God, resisted and went ahead. And I see the same scenario going on with Ambazonia, that despite all the squams and everything that is going on in Ambazonia, the president came up with this conference to put things in a rightful perspective, especially seeing that we are not in a banana republic. We are in the age of technology, whereby, despite the fighting and the other things, one thing can keep people going, and that is the law, and that is the rule of law. And since many Ambazonians who fled La République du Cameroon, when they fled La République du Cameroon, they went into so many different countries that were developed and were run by the rule of law. And so 1,001 Ambazonians right now are in countries that are governed by the rule of law. And when this God-given land of homeland Ambazonia got a hold of the president sent by God, that despite all the fire that is on the mountain, instead of running around the mountain, he decided to go down to the valley to fetch water to make sure that the fire is quenched on the mountains. And I should think that homeland should be extremely anticipating and waiting for the outcome of this particular conference. Doctor, there are a lot of cheap talks out there, but what we are expecting to see right now is the implementation of the decisions that were taken during this particular conference. And Doctor, I would like you to outline to us some of the pertinent decisions that were taken so that the Ambazonians should be aware that we are not living in the blues. We have a guideline, we have a guiding principle that can make us live up to our expectation. Again, yesterday, we are coming in late because I was still sleeping, doctor. Yesterday, there was jubilation. And in the jubilation, just talking out of the excitement, many of us who were in that Ambazonian house jubilating, we actually solicited that our prodigal sons who have disappeared and went a while, they should come back. Now that the house is put in place and there is jubilation and music going on, we want them to come back so that we can join together and see how we can push the enemy out of our land. Our enemy is not those people that have been calling us names. No, they are not our enemies. We know who is behind them. We know La Republique is there. We know France is there. We know the games they are playing. So they are not our enemies. They are just instruments that our enemies are using. And they are still our brothers. So we are stretching forth a hand for them to come in so that we can go together. We need nothing but the rule of the law. Over to you, doctor.
There are major changes. I will come back to the major changes, but I still want to highlight something that our honorary citizen said. He said something that is very touching, and this is the first time we are getting from this is somebody that is really selfless. When I was at the University of Ibadan, it was a university college under University of London, and everything about University of London, Ibadan have all the history about our history, the Southern Cameroons. And many of the time when they look at where do you come from, I say I come from the Southern Cameroon. They say, oh, you used to be part of us. You people left and went and ran to the other side. I said, no, we're never part of you. If we were part of you, why did they call us Southern Cameroons? Why did they not give us other names? Why were they calling us Southern Cameroons? We were never part of you. Only that we were administered because the British man said we are too small to send a regent, so they had to administer us through Nigeria. So for the first time, Pastor Atula just said something, excuse me, he said something very important. He said he believed in one Nigeria. But when it comes to the Cameroon case, he sees that he believes that Ambazonia has the right to self-determination. He has understood our history that we were under the United Nations protected territory and we were of equal status, just like the French Cameroon. So there is no right for the French Cameroon to have us as by force us into a union. Number one, we never had any, like late Njoli Tumbe said, we never had any, it was Njumba something. It was Tambwe State something. There was no signed document. And late Karina Tumi says too, there was no signed document in the Fumban. The Fumban conference was a sham because it was not witnessed by Britain or United Nations. It was a make-up to avoid the real thing. So Atulaja made us to understand that he supports that Ambazonia should come to regain their sovereignty. That it's right, but that he has found out that he's only the first to be known now, the first Nigerian to come out and really say that yes, he supports one Nigeria, but Ambazonia has the right to self-determination because it is an entity from the United Nations. That was a hallmark. I think that is why our president said, no, this man, let us give him the honorary citizenship of Amazonia. Coming back, Pastor, to the major things. The major thing that was really okay was that the RC, you remember RC, the Restoration
Yes,
Council,
yes, yes, yes,
after
yes.
the ASST2, it becomes that defunct has gone away. We are in a new era.
Mhm,
Welcome the interim House of Representatives. That was a
mhm,
major strike. And the appellation of chairman is no longer there again. We will have
mhm,
Madam Speaker or Mr. Speaker of the interim House of Representatives, which is,
mhm.
I mean, it shows that the arms of government is cementing, is taking its shape.
Right.
So we are not going to go to Boya and begin to say, oh, what do we call? No, everything is taking its shape now. What are they taking level?
Mhm,
And that
mhm.
was really a major something. Then, just what we started with the broadcast, we said the three, the northern zone and southern zone now becoming three zones. The Atlantic zone, the Mid Atlantic zone, and the
Was it Mid
Savannah zone.
Atlantic? Was it Mid Atlantic or Equatorial Zone? I
Yeah,
thought it
equatorial
was.
zone you can talk. Yeah, equatorial zone, whatever. You see,
Yeah,
we are all the good thing that we have three zones. We are going to
yeah,
check that
three
and
zones.
check ourselves. We
Yes, we'll
have
check
three
that off.
zones.
Yes, I thought that was
Yes.
Atlantic Zone, Equatorial,
Uh,
and Savannah Zone.
yeah, which is
Yes.
very, very good. Very, very good.
In
And
fact, Doctor,
mhm.
yes, yeah, I just wanted to chip in that we have just a few more minutes. The time is just
Okay.
too short. Yeah, I
Uh-huh.
want to say that when the defunct RC became interim House of Reps, there
Mhm.
was a speech or an analogy that the president put forth that made sense that an
Mhm.
average reasoning Amazonian will actually think about it. Now, listen, when we are talking of where we are now enjoying our restoration, which
Yeah.
was restored in 2017, 1st of
Yeah.
October 2017, we had our
Yeah.
restoration. Now we are
Mhm.
celebrating that restoration. Now, if you come up again with a restoration council, what are you
Mhm.
restoring again in that council?
Where you have already
Because
it has already been restored.
when you have already restored your government structures, that is why it still puzzles me and wonders me when some people get up and say the idea of a government was not correct. Meanwhile, we had restored the Jua government, the Endele
Mhm.
and the Muna, and the Foncha government of Southern
Exactly.
Cameroons, and all the structures that were there before, the structures have been put back in place. And then you are telling us to be still calling restoration council? No. So we got up to interim House of Reps because we are now in the interim, getting ready to get down to Boya and fully be established and remove the name interim and become now the real House of Reps, which gives and spices the government which we already have in place. So Ambazonians, be rest assured that our land has been restored and we regain our restoration on the 1st of October 2017. So for us to continue with a name that is still in the future, telling us about a restoration of something in the future, a council that is working towards a restoration, is contradictory to what actually took place in 2017. And so the interim house now replaces that kind of a name and gives us the meaning so that anybody who is coming into this interim house should know that, this is what is happening. Now, the name chairman and president and so on has been very confusing. Now, to say speaker and coordinator will have a cool head. But when you are the chairman, president, CIC, and all those names, all those appellations make some people to swell up that we are the timber and the caliber. We are the Iroko tree. that cannot be shaken. But then when you give them names that they know that as a coordinator, you are coordinating people. So you'll be humble enough to take some advices, some counseling, listen to the people you are coordinating, because as a coordinator, tomorrow you might not be the coordinator. And again, doctor, one of the things that really excited me in this particular conference that reshaped the structures of our government was the idea of these coordinators and local government coordinators to have a change after every 2 years. And that 2 years that they said put a change, they did not put the number of time limit. For example, two
Yeah.
terms or 3 terms and 4 terms. It was so, that is the kind of plenary democratic kind of mindset that Joa and Joa and Endele and Foncha they had, So it was really, really appealing and very, very, so nice that till tomorrow, this will be one of the dreams in the making of our history. And so, Doctor, we
You
have
know,
just about 10 minutes to go.
yeah,
I give over to share your last words.
yeah. The one of the major strides was that of the Judiciary. The
Yeah.
Judiciary Commission um, having its independence it's operating in a way that the president can have the right to appoint them, but he doesn't have the right to fire anybody from that commission, which give them autonomy to really do their work
Yes.
as supposed to be. And the post of the attorney general now being a part of the legislature to take care of the government part, which is very, very good. Is an appointee of the president of the republic and can be fired by the president of the republic. That was a major, major stride. Not to talk of the ethics commission, and it shows that the checks and balances of the branches of the government is really taking shape. What do you see? What do you think about the Judiciary Commission being now?
I'm telling Yeah, Doctor, I'm telling you that when it comes to the Judiciary Commission,
Yeah.
especially that it has been made to be an independent body,
Mm-hmm.
it will take only somebody from La Republic that has been injected with the blood of La Republic to break through in corruption in that kind of a setup. But if you are a born
Yeah.
Ambazonia and you are an apprentice of corruption from La Republic, just know that you cannot make it, because the structures have been made in such a way that the walls of the people for Ambazonia is really, really strong again. What I saw and what I heard, because in the 60s, in the late 60s, that 68, 69, 70, I was still getting a gist. That's a little bit of what was happening in 1954 when our people gathered together came out from Nigeria, and they were sitting down in their independence. I could smell the air. I can see, I'm not a seer, but I can see into the future of Ambazonia, that if Jesus Christ, whom we are expecting to come soon, tarries to come, I am telling you, people shall run to Ambazonia to request for a job. They shall make applications for job residence in Ambazonia, because
The
this
crown,
is exactly.
yeah, you were asking for my last word. The crown of everything is Patasang. They are writing from
Yes, yes,
Patasang. That was
yes, yes.
an epistle, an apostolic epistle for the Amazon, for we the Amazonian, for the Amazon. When that young man was reading and crying, it sends message to all of us that this thing is our going to Bokwango, to Bongo Square is real, and it's not going to be long, and we'll be there.
Doctor, when you are talking, I can feel some goose hairs running all over me when it comes to the epistle of Patterson, because
Mhm.
immediately that young man was reading that document, written from prison. Guess what came to my mind? Do you know that 3/4 of Pauline epistles in the Bible, he wrote them when he was in prison? You know,
Yep.
so it's not good to go to prison, but when you go to prison without you desiring to go to prison, and you give over yourself to God, when you come out from that prison, if you are godly, I'm telling you that God will speak in a way that people will not be able to understand. I don't know about the spirituality of Mandela, but when he came out from prison, his reforms were very different. But Patterson, we know his spirituality, and what he has written can only be comparable to what is written in the Pauline epistles in the Bible. And I believe that God has a plan for the people of Amazonia. And so, fellow Amazonians, if you are sitting there and watching at us, Dr. Tata will be bringing to us his last word. And then after his last word, I will come up with the last word. I will call it quit for today. And we are looking forward, God helping us. We shall be back with you tomorrow to continue in this exercise because, Dr. Tata, somebody has just corrected us. He says that it is Atlantic zone, Equatorial zone, and Savannah zone. So when we come back tomorrow, God
Correction
willing,
accepted.
we shall break down, we shall give the names of the counties that are found in these zones so that we can now go with that appellation. So we're going to get the names of the countries and fit them into the zones before tomorrow. Okay, over to you, Doctor. Your last words,
Yeah,
and then we call it.
what my last words is really Patterson. You might be listening to this broadcast, and anytime you listen to this broadcast, our prayers are with you and all our brothers and sisters, fathers that are all over the place, over 5,000 in various places. Our prayers are with you. And look at under very difficult condition that Patterson was in said. This inspiration came to him and he wrote down these things. He didn't know whether it was going to see the light of the day or not. When he was incommunicado, we were all worried. And finally, we can see those wonderful writings. So, Ambazonia, let's take the challenge. Those of us who are out there here, we should take the challenge and do more exploit. Somebody that is inside the dungeon of the lion, doing all this exploit, then we who are outside should do more, and we should work our home front with the umbilical cord. With those of us in diaspora, the umbilical cord and the home front, the baby is about to be delivered. So don't sever the umbilical cord. Let's work together. We cannot do without you, and you cannot do without us. Thank you so much. Pastor Commando, over to you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tata, for that rounding up there. Ladies and gentlemen, people of the homeland Amazonia, we just came here this evening to give you a little appetizer of what took place over last weekend. And you are asking for the resolutions. You will soon see the resolutions. The people working on the resolutions are soon going to send out the resolutions, and you will have the resolutions on the social media, and especially in our constitution, in our constitution and in the other media that is supposed to be there. So don't be worried. They are compiling them. They just voted them on Saturday, and then we need to bring them over to you as soon as possible. Meanwhile, today we want to say thank you very much for coming up. We will be coming up with much of these surprises. We don't have our history might be coming up as much as possible. As soon as we have a little time on ABC, we will drop in to give you a tidbit, the tip of the iceberg, so that we can be educating ourselves while getting ready for Boya. Meanwhile, at this juncture, we want to say thank you very much for coming up with us, and stay tuned for the next program that is coming up. I'm sure the next program that is coming up is going to be about health, and as soon as it comes up, Dr. Yaya will be coming in to share a number of health issues with those of you on Ground Zero, and of course, those of you who are actually listening to ABC around the globe. Well, once again, we say God bless you and bye for now.
And paid the price necessary to expect nothing short of the total independence of Amazonia restored.